Some of you have heard about the St. Louis County Council meeting on July 27, 2021 about mask mandates. Here's another favorite clip of mine. Whenever a healthcare provider intentionally or unintentionally presents themselves to an audience in such a way that the audience assumes this healthcare provider is a physician, that's a problem. You have to ask yourself, why do they do that? Do they do that on purpose? To give themselves more authority with what they're seeing, with what they're saying, pardon me? I'm a physician assistant, and I never present myself as a physician. I always make it clear that I'm a physician assistant. I take pride in what I do. I'm not embarrassed.
Next speaker is David Saunders, followed by Amanda Garavaglia.
I could spend the next 3 minutes filling this room with my frustrations, nitpicking at the authorities and academics' assessment of all available data at present. I could fill your ears with some of my unorthodox beliefs about what health and wellness is and how it should be measured. I could philosophize as to how we determine what is real, objective, and true.
Look, we have an epistemologist within our presence.
I can make the case for what is moral and right.
And now he is an ethicist.
Sadly, these days, we would rather call each other racists, bigots, and extremists.
Okay, so let's follow what he's saying. He's saying that we would rather call each other racists, bigots, extremists, instead of discussing epistemology and ethics.
An argument these days begins with, I feel like what you're saying is. To the point at hand, I am a clinician, and every day I hold the responsibility of ensuring excellent anesthesia care to patients of all ages.
Okay, so think about this. At this point, if I had not already shared his information from Missouri's medical board, what would your assumption be? You would assume he's an anesthesiologist.
I graduated at the top of my classes here in St. Louis in my undergraduate and my graduate coursework.
I looked at both CRNA programs in St. Louis. Both are small classes. One's 24 students, the other is, I think it's at 7 to 10, which is normal for a program that's as intense in its training as a CRNA. You have to have a minimum GPA of 3.0 to graduate. My class was small too, it was in the 20s. This was back in 2001. And I remember one time, studying with a friend of mine, and I thought I was going to brag about my GPA. He goes, dude, you have to graduate with that GPA at least. I can't remember what it was. It was between 3.0 and 4.0. I can't remember. But my point is, a small class size, a minimum GPA of 3.0, if you have 24 students or 7 to 10, what does it mean that you graduated at the top of your class? Like the upper half? What does that mean?
I am both educated and intelligent, but make no mistake, these are not the same thing.
I'm a very stable genius.
Who brags about how smart they are?
All the while, I have learned humility with each passing year. Whether it is one of my young sons outsmarting me in a game of chess, or my wife's good advice I stubbornly ignored, or a decision I had made in the clinical environment that had less than ideal outcomes, I have learned humility.
One of my favorite go-to jokes in the OR, especially if it's a new anesthesiologist, I'll say, I'm the most humble PA in this area.
Of you. Not one of us is here tonight to change our minds on these matters. But still we are here, and I ask myself why. At times I am mature enough to understand why I've become so upset with many of you. Whether you are seeking to dominate where I travel, with whom I share a smile with.
In the operating room, we wear masks. There's very little, if any, evidence that an anesthesiologist, or in his case, a certified registered nurse anesthetist, wearing a mask prevents giving the patient some kind of respiratory infection. A lot of reasons for that. One of them is the anesthesiologist isn't hanging over the patient's face the whole time.
What authorized genetic therapeutic I have injected into my arm.
So he's a certified registered nurse anesthetist. What is he injecting into his arm? And why does he put it in quotes? Why is authorized in quotes? I don't understand what's going on here.
Or in this case, what dirty fabric I cut out of old blankets to fashion a face covering out of.
What? Why is a certified registered nurse anesthetist making masks that he cuts out of old dirty blankets?
There is a place for anger, as I consider these widespread demands placed on citizens from coast to coast and from continent to continent. This is not that place. This is a place of respect from me to you, from you to me, from you to my family, from you to my neighbors, from all of you to all of us. As a clinician, I owe my patients excellent care. Admittedly, I only care for one patient at a time. And in the operating room.
Dude, we've already established that you work in the OR. Just ask yourselves the question, why does he keep on saying that? Does it give the sense of authority when he says it?
And so to you all, this must be more difficult, but I ask you to consider how to satisfy all. And if unable to satisfy the extremes on both sides, you hold most dear the principle of self-determination, for it is the basis of a free people. And do not forget it, we are a free people.